included a provision that wiped out the 5-year rule and said, if you are here just a few days, you can get your child in S-chip, and the taxpayers of the United States will pay for that. They also changed in that same bill, analyzing by states and localities whether the persons were illegally in the country. What does all of this mean for the American taxpayer? What does it mean for us? We have heard at the national level, and the biggest issue right now on the national media is national health care in some form, shape, or fashion. Now, you're going to have a Republican proposal, you're going to have a Democratic proposal. Fact is, if you did not have illegals in the United States of America, you could reduce the number of uninsured by at least 1/4 and probably 1/3. And you have not heard the national media say that, but that is accurate. Education costs are enormous for the public school systems because, and I can understand why, more persons are homeschooling and getting alternatives to public education because it's a tremendous amount of money. In the state of Virginia, and I'm not sure how it is in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, or other states, but in Virginia, no question is ever asked about immigration status. You have to produce a birth certificate. I did for my daughter to establish age, but if you don't have one and immigration status could be a question, you don't have to produce one. We went around and around with the superintendent of public education. And my position is, you gotta produce a birth certificate, and if you don't produce a birth certificate or a naturalization certificate, you can't enroll because of age, not immigration status. That's that interpretation of a federal court decision. I think it's wrong, but you can still make that requirement if you wanted to truly reduce your education costs and only fund it for the persons legally in the country. Healthcare costs, we've talked about that. Illegal immigration, huge impact on that. I remember going down to the floor of the House with Congressman Tancredo, holding up the comic book that was given out in Mexico for persons coming into this country illegally, so they would know how to get various programs that are available. We can reduce pollution. We can save hundreds of millions of dollars and tens of billions of dollars by stopping illegal immigration and making legal immigration the subject of many reforms. There are also some other things that I believe that need to be changed that would help the Congress and the United States Senate. When I first came to Congress in 1997, we had several votes on the issue of term limits. And I don't think y'all have taken a platform stand on term limits. I have come to be, I supported them in 97. I can't tell you how much I think changing the situation where you have some members just elected for 25, 30 years, having term limits would take the focus, in my opinion, off of constant fundraising. I can tell you in the U.S. House of Representatives, from personal experience, and if you will talk with most members, you've got to be raising money all the time. And those of you that have run for office, and I want to commend all of you for being here, for using your money. I was surprised when it said your registration fee was $150, it went up. If you came in today or if you came in last week, it was even more. You are truly dedicated. I would have to say that if you were in the Democratic Party or the Republican Party or the Libertarian Party, very few of them would pay $150 to come to a regional meeting and be part of the process. So I want to thank you for your dedication and your commitment, and give yourselves a hand on that. But back to the issue of term limits. The constant focus on raising money needs to change. And I think having term limits, and I suggested a 12-year limit for the House and a 12-year limit for the Senate, would be an appropriate way to go and would reduce the constant focus of raising money to stay in office. And I think this is part of your platform, and I fully agree with this. If you are a former member of the U.S. Senate or the former member of the U.S. House of Representatives, you should never be able to lobby, certainly for a foreign country, and maybe not lobby at all. And that is your position. I find this when they brought us the Constitution and the first years of our republic. Very, very few stayed for decades. Many would serve for a few terms, and they felt they had done their duty, and the focus was on public service. The focus needs to be on public service and doing what's right, rather than seeing how long you can stay in the U.S. Senate or the U.S. House of Representatives, and it should be putting the United States first and not an individual's career.
Amen.
Opening up for a few questions, I want to thank you also for your strong pro-life position and for recognizing that marriage should be between one man and one woman at one time. And I can tell you, the makeup of the Supreme Court in the future is going to be very crucial on this issue. Virginia, and I know a number of other states, have passed constitutional amendments defining marriage as between one man and one woman. What's going to happen when someone from Vermont or Massachusetts comes to Pennsylvania, comes to Tennessee, comes down to Virginia, and says, well, we were married up there in Vermont. We were married in California before they had the vote. Now we're married in Virginia. And we want the state insurance program and all the other state benefits to treat us as a married couple. That's going to be a Supreme Court issue. And if they rule under conflict of laws, precedent, and otherwise, that a marriage in Vermont overrides the Virginia Constitution, you've got to have something at the national level. And we've got to have a national commitment to that policy. Otherwise, it's going to greatly erode the strong majority of states that has recognized traditional marriage. So this is a very, very important issue, and it's one to talk to every federal legislator about their feelings and position, and also the United States Senate that has to review and approve Supreme Court justices. Again, I want to say thank you for the invitation to be with you, and I want to thank you for your common sense thoughts and positions on so many issues that are important to so many Americans.